losers who blame others for their losses, because winners always elect to do deep introspection and self-correction when they lose. Now, rather than direct their venom towards others, so instead of MPP being angry against others for daring to deny them their God-given right to rule Ghana, it would be better for them to do a deep self-examination. As the great philosopher Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. Why does the MPP family believe that they are superior Ghanaians and that they have a God-given right over the political and economic destiny of Ghana? Kwame Nkrumah's CPP, that fought for the independence of Ghana, at the time the MPP family kept begging Britain not to grant independence to our nation, did not even behave as though they were superior Ghanaians. Where were these tribal bigots who think they own Ghana when Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, ably aided by Volta region's Dr. Agbeli Bedema and other nationalists, declared the motion of independence on the eve of our independence? Where were they? Where were these tribal bigots who think Ghana is their property when Kwame Nkrumah, Agbeli Bedema, and others fought to keep Ghana as one unitary state, one nation, one people, one destiny? At a time when the MPP family was busily fighting for Ghana to be made a federal state so that each region can keep its own resources. To keep this beloved country united, Kwame Nkrumah had to pass the Avoidance of Discrimination Act in 1957 to outlaw political parties based on regional, ethnic, or religious differences. Where were these tribal bigots all those times? Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Agbeli Bedema, and all who want independence for Ghana never once contemplated betraying this beloved nation. They never once stooped so low as to become paid agents of any foreign power to work against the interests of their own country. But we know that declassified files of the CIA will reveal that the same cannot be said about the main founder of the MPP family, Dr. J.B. Dankwa, the beloved uncle of President Akufo-Addo. Yet, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and Agbeli Bedema never once believed that they were more Ghanaian than others. What gives the MPP family the moral right to think that they are superior Ghanaians? President Rawlings and the many patriots, one of whom sitting right on my right, who toiled with him from 1982 to 1992 to lift this nation from the brink of collapse at a time when things had sunk so low and the self-belief and confidence of our people were so shattered that some of our brothers at the time were moving in droves to Togo to work as shoe shine boys. And some of our sisters left to Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire and had to prostitute themselves just to be able to survive. Rawlings and these many patriots who through sweat and dedication rallied the great people of Ghana back to the place where once again we become a nation that was respected and admired among our peers, have never claimed that they were superior Ghanaians. Where were these tribal bigots when this massive reconstruction of our country was being done? Where were they when this group of patriots worked tirelessly to bequeath to this country the 1992 Constitution that today has become the foundation of political stability, upon which all sons and daughters of Ghana, north, south, east, and west, are working hard to construct a Ghana that will become a great and strong nation under God? Where were these tribal bigots all this while? Now, the earlier the MPP family snapped out of this pathological delusion that some Ghanaians are foreigners and only they are proper Ghanaians, the better it will be for all of Ghana. The respect for all Ghanaians, north, south, east, and west, is crucial in our endeavor to be able to hold hands together in a true spirit of brotherhood, as envisaged by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah at the time of our nation's independence. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the massive deployment of the security forces along the border towns is just one of the several desperate means the NPP government is employing to achieve its political ends. We in Ketu South and the Volta region are not completely shocked at all. Why should we be? Have we not seen the brutal violence unleashed on innocent Ghanaians in broad daylight during the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-elections? The whole world witnessed in shock how this despotic regime turned a simple by-election into a war front and resulted to the criminal abuse of power. We were witnesses to the egregious bloodletting by a gang of MPP brigands and bandits masquerading as national security personnel with the tacit approval of the President of the Republic, who also happens to be the chairman of the National Security Council. Now, to confirm that the hoodlums operated with the tacit approval of the regime, the president, who touts his democratic credentials, blatantly refused to implement critical recommendations of the commission that he himself had set up. How tragic, how shameful. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, this is the same game plan the MPP is following. A plan which today has reduced an electoral commission that has since 1992 gained international recognition and neutrality for its neutrality, professionalism, and credibility, into a pliant instrument to subvert the will of the people of Ghana. Now, the saddest part is that while all this is going on, the MPP actually continue to delude themselves that the people of Ghana and the rest of the world cannot see the systematic effort they are employing to bastardize the electoral system and virtually turn this nation into a banana republic. Same things the MPP is doing with institutions like the NIA and the NCA. The NCA has become the state institution that is being used under the guise of enforcement of regulations to close down media houses that are perceived to be too critical of the regime. Freedomhouse.org, an international media freedom watchdog, recently described the modus operandi of regimes like that of Nana Akufo-Addo. Regimes that pretend to respect the rule of law, but in reality are leaving no stone unturned to subvert media freedoms. Governments, according to media.com, according to freemedia.org, governments are using the more subtle tools of media regulations to restrict press freedoms, maintaining a veneer of legality and pluralism that is less likely to draw attention and criticism from abroad. Manipulation of the regulatory framework allows them to either tolerate or rein in influential news outlets, depending on the political situation, and permit even democratically elected government to fortify themselves against future electoral competition. Now, the above accurately describes the shameful methods being used by the Akufo-Addo government. Now, when concerns are raised, the president quickly points to regulations and laws. He has so soon forgotten that even apartheid was backed by legislation. Even the trade and ownership of black slaves in America was legal in the US until the year 1865. The Aliens Compliance Order, which they often denounce, I'm talking about the MPP family, denounce all the time, was also backed by law. Now, the undemocratic ways of this regime are bad enough. The high-handedness is terrible enough. But what adds insult to injury is when they actually pretend to be the custodians of the rule of law and the civil liberties and of democracy. What hypocrites they are. Christ refers to people such as these as whitewashed graves. In Matthew 23:28, Christ described this type of pretenders in the following words: "Woe unto you, hypocrites! You are like whitewashed graves, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of dead men's bones and everything unclean." To our friends in the MPP, remember, God is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow, that you shall reap. And the earlier you awoke to that realization, the better. So don't forget that the day of reckoning will soon come. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, all those watching this development, this very sad development, and not raising their voices, are through their silence encouraging the entrenchment of an oppressive and tyrannical regime. Those watching this looming danger but failing to speak up and condemn it should remember that their silence makes them accomplices, and posterity will judge them if their own conscience fails to do so. We urge them to speak up and let the MPP government and others who think alike appreciate that citizenship is not a question of law, it's a question of law. Neither the government of Akufo-Addo nor the military contingent stationed all over our border towns cannot decide who is or who is not a citizen of Ghana. Now, there are very many Ghanaian families that live on both sides of the Ghana-Togo border. Lome, just about 10 minutes away from here, the capital of Togo, is a major economic center. It is a commercial and educational hub that attracts Ghanaians from as far as the western region, the Ashanti region, the eastern region, and so many other parts of this country. The government...
Yeah. Let's get it. To wreck soul.